Welcome to Mind Chime's Year in Review 2025. There's a particular sound a year makes when it's over. It's not fireworks, it's not applause, something quieter. Sounds like fatigue setting down its bags. Sounds like a mind asking, finally, what just happened to me? That's the sound 2025 made. This year did not arrive politely. It barged in, rearranged the furniture, and then demanded we pretend nothing was broken. It was loud in all the wrong places, eerily silent when accountability used to live. It trained us slowly, deliberately, to confuse chaos with inevitability. And Mind Chime spent the year refusing to accept that trade. If you've been reading, you know this wasn't a Substack about chasing headlines. It was about chasing patterns. Not the outrage of the moment, but the architecture beneath it. Not who said what today, but why the same excuses keep working decade after decade. We wrote about cover-ups, not just the crimes, but the rituals that follow them, the document dumps, the walkbacks, the collective shrugs, the dangerous American habit of mistaking repetition for absolutism. Because here's the thing, history keeps trying to teach us. Scandals fade, rationalizations linger, and democracies don't collapse, they erode. We wrote about power too, and how it reveals itself less in speeches than in silences. After 2 seconds in a film, or in a press conference or a crisis, when someone could act and doesn't, those moments tell you everything if you are willing to notice them. We talked about cruelty dressed up as candor, about how quickly America has learned to medicalize behavior it used to call immoral, how explanation has become a substitute for responsibility, how diagnosis is offered, but not as understood, but as statement. And we talked about inheritance, not money, not property, beliefs, the strange mismatched furniture of ideas we grow up with, faith without doctrine, patriotism without honor, morality absorbed through contradiction rather than instruction. The quiet realization later in life that much of what we believe was simply what we were handed and never thought to question. That piece mattered to me because it reminded us that culture isn't taught, it's inhaled. But perhaps the most important theme of the year, the one that readers kept circling back to, was exhaustion. Not burnout as in personal failure, exhaustion as a strategy. Because a tired public is easier to govern than a persuaded one. A distracted citizenry is cheaper than an informed one, and chaos deployed relentlessly has a way of making people long not for justice, but for quiet. Mind Chimes tried to interrupt that. And not by yelling louder, but by slowing down and insisting that thinking is still an act of citizenship. The memory is a form of resistance. That refusing to normalize the unacceptable is not naive. It's necessary. So I've written Mind Chime's review for 2025. It's not a victory lap. It's not a highlight reel. It's a reckoning. And it pulls together the essays that endured, the ones that stayed in the room after the noise left, the pieces that weren't optimized for clicks, but for conscience, the ones that trusted you, the reader, to sit with discomfort instead of scrolling past it. The review, it asks a simple question. What did 2025 try to teach us? And did we learn anything? If you've been with Mind Chimes all year, this is a moment to pause and see the pattern you already sensed. If you're new, this is the place to start because the loudest voices always fade. Memory endures. You can read the full Mind Chimes Year in Review now on Substack. Take your time with it. Share it with someone who still believes thinking matters. And as we step into whatever 2026 brings or plans to throw at us, just remember this. We don't owe chaos our surrender. We don't owe outrage our attention. And we don't owe forgetting our future. Thanks for listening. You can find a link below in the comments.